Welcome to the Oneida Herkimer Madison BOCES annual training of the Dignity for All Students Act, often referred to as DASA or the Dignity Act. This is a state-mandated training to all school employees, including but not limited to teachers, administrators, monitors, aides, bus drivers, coaches, custodians, cafeteria staff, and hall monitors. The Dignity for All Students Act was established to protect all students from harassment, bullying, and discrimination at school. It became effective on July 1, 2012, and was amended to include cyberbullying, effective July 1, 2013. The Dignity Act was signed into law by former Governor David Paterson. The state legislature finds that a student's ability to learn and to meet high academic standards and a school's ability to educate its students are compromised by incidents of discrimination or harassment that include bullying, taunting, or intimidation. The purpose of the Dignity Act is to foster civility in public schools and to prevent and prohibit conduct which is inconsistent with the school's educational mission. Effective May 2018, the New York State Board of Regents amended DASA reporting requirements to include illustrative examples of the types of incidents of harassment, bullying, and or discrimination which must be reported and investigated as possible violations of DASA. In 2018, the Dignity Act reporting requirements were amended to include a report regarding the denial of access to school facilities, functions, opportunities, or programs, including but not limited to restrooms, changing rooms, locker rooms, and or field trips, or a report regarding the application of a dress code, specific grooming, or appearance standards. Also included were a report including the use of names and pronouns or the pronunciation of names, or a report regarding any other form of harassment, bullying, and or discrimination based on a person's actual or perceived race, which includes protective hairstyles, color, weight, national origin, ethnic group, religion, religious practice, disability, sexual orientation, gender, which includes gender identity and or expression, or sex. Effective July 2019, Section 11 of Education Law was amended to read, "Race shall, for the purposes of this article, include traits historically associated with race, including but not limited to hair texture and protective hairstyles. Protective hairstyles shall include but not be limited to such hairstyles as braids, locks, and twists." Additional illustrative examples of discrimination based on natural hair or hairstyles include a report regarding punishment, differential treatment or humiliation of a student, exclusion of a student from a school function, athletic team, or school yearbook based on hair texture or protective hairstyles, or the request to alter or the actual alteration of a protective hairstyle. The reasons for being bullied, reported most often by students, include physical appearance, race or ethnicity, gender, disability, religion, and sexual orientation. Nationwide, 1 out of every 5 students report being bullied at school, and 41% of those students who reported being bullied at school indicated that they think that the bullying would happen again. Under the Dignity Act, bullying and cyberbullying are prohibited. This applies to behaviors that occur between student to student, as well as school employee to student, on school property, at a school function, or on a school bus. Under the Dignity Act, all schools must include safe and responsible use of the internet and electronic communications. The Dignity Act does not protect school staff from student behaviors that may be perceived as bullying or harassment, as those are covered in the district code of conduct. All student instruction should support the development of a school environment or climate free of discrimination and harassment. Instruction should include components on civility, citizenship, and character education. The Dignity Act also requires schools to collect and report data regarding material incidents of discrimination and harassment annually to the New York State Education Department. Bullying has been described as an unwanted, aggressive behavior that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated over time. Bullying generally involves the following characteristics: an imbalance of power. Students who bully others use their power, such as physical strength, access to embarrassing information, or popularity, to control or harm others. Power imbalances can change over time in the different situations, even if they involve the same people. The intent to cause harm. Determining the intent of an individual who demonstrates bullying behaviors may be difficult. The perception of the person who is the target of those behaviors should be considered. And repetition. Bullying behaviors generally happen more than once or have the potential to happen more than once. Bullying behaviors can be physical, verbal, relational, social, and cyber. DASA definitions include threats, intimidation, or abuse, which shall include both verbal and nonverbal actions, or emotional harm. Emotional harm takes place in the context of harassment, bullying, or cyberbullying. That is harm to a student's emotional well-being through the creation of a hostile school environment that is so severe or pervasive as to unreasonably and substantially interfere with the student's education. Cyberbullying, which was amended to the Dignity Act in 2013, can be defined as bullying that takes place using electronic technology. Electronic technology includes, but is not limited to, devices and equipment such as cell phones, computers, tablets, and gaming consoles, as well as communication tools, including social media platforms, text messages, chat rooms, and websites. Under the Dignity Act, protected classes of students include, but are not limited to, actual or perceived race, including protective hairstyles, color, weight, national origin, ethnic group, religion, religious practice, disability, sexual orientation, gender, including gender identity and expression, or sex. The intent of the law is not to be exhausted. For example, while height is not specifically outlined in the law, a student harassed for being short or tall would also be protected. Even though a student may not fall into one of the 11 protected classes, they still can be the target of harassment, bullying, or discrimination while at school, at a school function, or on a school bus. Under the Dignity Act, each building is required to have at least one Dignity Act coordinator, or DAC, although schools may have more than one. The DAC is designated by the school board and must be made available to students, their families, and other employees for consultation and advice as needed. The DAC should have a designated email address, as well as their contact information posted throughout the building, including high traffic areas and administrative offices. Information regarding the district or building DAC is also made available in policies such as the Code of Conduct, on school websites, and in annual mailings to families and members of the school community. The Dignity Act Coordinator, or DAC, will conduct interviews and investigate each reported incident promptly and thoroughly. Retaliation under the Dignity Act is prohibited against anyone making a report or assisting with the investigation. The investigation shall include separately interviewing all involved, including the target, the aggressor, and any witnesses. The Dignity Act coordinators are required to notify appropriate local law enforcement when they believe that any harassment, bullying, or discrimination constitutes criminal conduct. In the event that an alleged incident is founded to be a material incident of bullying and harassment, a prompt plan for change shall be implemented. The plan can be providing resources to outside agencies for counseling or other resources to support students and persons in the parental relationship. Schools are required to provide the contact information for the building or district Dignity Act coordinators. These are examples of posters for both the elementary school on the left as well as the junior, senior high schools on the right. They should be placed in high traffic areas and in administrative offices so the school community can be educated and informed of who the Dignity Act coordinator is for their building, as well as their contact information. School staff who have reasonable cause to believe that a student has been subject to bullying, harassment, and/or discrimination must act reasonably and in good faith report it to the DAC or their designee. An OR report must be reported within 1 school day. Once an OR report is done, you are required to submit a written report within 2 school days to the DAC or their designee. DASA incident reporting forms are available to use either on a district's website or on site at your school. It is important to remember that FERPA protects the privacy of student records, and therefore information contained in reports is confidential and should not be released without permission from the parent or eligible student that is 18 years or older. During an investigation of alleged incident of bullying, harassment, and/or discrimination, the incident may be founded or considered a material incident of harassment, bullying, and/or discrimination. A material incident is defined as a single incident or a series of incidents where a student is subjected to bullying, harassment by a student and/or employee on school property or at a school function that creates a hostile environment by conduct with or without physical contact and/or verbal threats, intimidation, or abuse of such severe or pervasive nature that has or would have the effect of unreasonably and substantially interfering with a student's educational performance, opportunities, or benefits, or mental, emotional, and/or physical well-being, or reasonably causes, or would reasonably be expected to cause a student to fear for their physical safety. As mentioned earlier in this presentation, the Dignity Act prohibits retaliation against any individual who is involved in, reports, or insists in the investigation of an alleged incident of bullying, harassment, and/or discrimination. In the event that an investigation reveals that bullying, harassment, and/or discrimination took place, the school must take prompt action to end the harassment, bullying, or discrimination, eliminate any hostile environment, prevent reoccurrence of the behavior, ensure the safety of the student or students against whom such bullying, harassment, and/or discrimination was directed, and work to create and maintain a positive school culture and climate. According to the Center for Disease Control and the Cyberbullying Research Center, students who are bullied are at risk for feelings of depression, anxiety, and isolation, low self-esteem, poor school adjustment, sleep difficulties, physical illness, and suicidal thoughts may also be a product of a student who has been bullied, harassed, or discriminated against. Targets of bullying may be afraid to go to school, ride the bus, use the school bathroom, or even be afraid of being alone in a school hallway. Bullying, harassment, and or discrimination can impact both the emotional and physical health of a student. Although the signs and symptoms of the impact can vary from student to student, and awareness of the changes in behavior are essential for reaching out to the student to offer assistance, a listening ear, and support. This concludes our annual mandated DASA awareness training. Thank you for taking the time to view this training module, and thank you for all you do in the upcoming school year to offer support and create a positive climate for all students within your building and within your district.